So, welcome everybody. Self-Worth School is back in session. I'm really happy to have with us today Kim Basler. So, Kim, you are our guest teacher today. I've given you a little intro in the episode intro, but can you please give us a short story about how you've gotten into the work that you're doing today?
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you, Rosie, for bringing me into your school. I am happy to be here. So, my work came from my story. I had worked in the fitness industry for over 25 years of my life. And I think, like many of us, the messaging that we've been taught around our bodies, that's where a lot of my exercise was coming from, was trying to control my body size while also inspiring and supporting other people, right? And I loved
Mm,
what I did. I really did until the level of expectations that I was putting on myself because I was growing in the industry into a managerial role and all these messages that I had learned and embodied since I was a young child started to create stress in my life. And I
yeah.
started to experience a lot of health issues, both mentally and physically. And ultimately, I had to make a big decision to leave my career to focus on my mental health. And that's where the journey started from. And it was incredibly hard. And we're not here to talk about that. But ultimately, what I wanted to do was realize that all of this messaging that I had held around my health and who I
Hmm.
thought I needed to be as a woman, what I had attached my worth to,
Yeah.
it was no longer something that I could prescribe to, subscribe to,
Yeah.
and I wasn't happy. And I was scared, truthfully. But ultimately, it was that unraveling and that awakening within me as a woman that has led me to do this work to support other women in their relationships with food, healing from diet culture, healing the understanding that's happening with their food relationship. Because I speak to our food relationship as a symptom. It's not a problem to be fixed. There are symptoms if we're experiencing anything that we're not happy with and around our bodies and supporting women from an internal level to re-invite themselves into a new relationship with themselves. And so my work really truly came from my story. And I've been doing it now since the backhand of 2017. And I'm loving what I do. And of course, it's evolving as well.
It's such an interesting journey because, like you say, I've had another guest on the podcast who also is in the fitness industry and
Mm.
different kind of paths, but certainly realizations of you get to a certain point and the things that you've always learned about, slim and strong is the desire and you want to lose weight and gain muscle. And actually, you think that's the thing that you need to have a better relationship with your body, but actually, like you said, you became misaligned with that. And yeah, the disconnect in terms of like identity wise must be a real, yeah, like a real kind of like mind-blowing thing to come up against. Be like, oh, everything I've been working towards or preaching about or aligning myself with to a degree, actually the relationship that I thought we needed with our body isn't the one that we need.
And we make it sound so simple, and it wasn't. And you're right,
Mm,
it was a complete cracking of who I knew myself to be, everything that I had attached my worth to, and what I believed I was it was the only thing that I was good at. And that's hard. I was 41 years old when it happened, and it really made me question my life. It made me fear for my future. I was a mother, and it was really hard. It was a
mm.
really tough time. And I think we need to speak about that challenging, messy part in the middle when we don't know yet. Because there's a level of, I think a lot of us with this, it's control, right? We're trying to control
Mhm.
things in order to feel okay. And when you find yourself, I refer to that as my dark night and my dark night of my soul. And you don't get to control that. And you have to lean into a lot of trust and uh, and just know that you're going to be okay. And that's really what I leaned into is I leaned into I'm going to be okay. And I let other people in to help me as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you say about that messy middle, that's
Mhm.
part of why I really wanted to do this podcast episode because I know being like sadly of middle age myself, not sadly,
Yeah, I was going to
it's an
say.
absolute joy to get here and there are a lot of benefits around it. I guess it's just you have this concept in your mind of what being middle aged means. And I don't think personally it's the same as it was for like the generation before us. But anyway, that's another story. But
Yeah.
I know from things that have happened myself with my body, and they have been both physical things from an appearance perspective, but also going through years of infertility and
Okay.
not having a body work the womanly way that you want it to, but also having a really disconnected relationship with my own body in terms of not loving the fact I have tiny boobs or that I have cellulite on X, Y, and Z. But as well, it's conversations that I've had with my own friends. And I think, especially getting to this stage in your life, your body will have changed quite a lot. Those who have been able to have kids, their bodies change as well. And the things that we used to do aren't as easy for us to do or don't necessarily work in the same way. And just a lot of women that I either know personally or that I work with are feeling disconnected from their bodies, whether that's
Mhm.
through body image, whether it's like comparison to other people, or just not feeling enough, or going through things that I've already mentioned, like motherhood,
Yeah.
eating disorders, infertility, stuff like that. Why do you think, because a lot of this episode is talking about coming home to yourself, feeling more at home, feeling more comfortable and happy in your own skin, why do you think so many of us find it so hard to feel at home in our own skin and our own bodies?
Yeah. Ultimately, it's everything we've been taught since we were little girls. It's been embedded in every single message, every single show. And I can think about when I was a child, I was going to weight loss meetings with my mother, and my grandmother was there as well. And I have just grown up in this.
Mm,
And I think that is the story for so many of us. Even if my story is not exactly the same as somebody who's listening today, we can find threads that are the same.
yeah.
So we have been taught from a young age that our bodies are supposed to look a certain way, that they're not supposed to age, and that
Mm,
there is a certain look that is beautiful. And if you don't meet that criteria, then either you're not or you need to fix it. And that's what we've been taught. And not to
yeah.
mention all of the industries that we're sold and told about everything.
Mm,
It's everywhere. And you can't unsee it once you've started doing this work for yourself. Like it's everywhere. I even saw it on Dancing with the Stars 2 nights ago when one of the dancers was praising one of the contestants for the
yeah.
amount of weight that he had lost. So it's everywhere.
Mm,
And we have to be able to see it and hear it and recognize that's no longer our belief system. But of course, that takes time. We have to really address what are the things that I want to align with as I get older. Because going back to what you said a moment ago, our bodies are supposed to change. They will
yeah.
change from one day to the next. They are supposed to change. And what a gift that is that we get to age. So
Mm.
we have to really challenge that narrative of what we have been taught so that we can enjoy this gift of aging, really.
And something that's coming up for me there is, like you say, those comments from Dancing with the Stars and otherwise, and like you say, are comments that people often get. People are praised for losing weight, and like I say, that there is an essence of if you've lost weight, then you become like your body is better, you become healthier, you become happier. Where do you feel? Where do you feel the line gets drawn between like healthy weight loss because, like perhaps you're overweight and it's detrimental to your health, and where we might want to recognize somebody for doing the hard work that gets them within, say, a healthy weight, versus praising that weight loss that perhaps that isn't necessary? Or where's like the healthy connection within that of
Yeah.
recognizing when something needs to be done for health? Maybe that's the distinction, recognizing between what needs to be done for health and what needs to be done for appearance or
Yeah.
acceptance. Maybe I'm answering my own question here, but yeah, fine.
I think, and I'm thinking back to what you just asked. Ultimately, first of all, we don't have a right to have an opinion of anybody's body and what they choose to do with it. That's the
Yep.
first thing. Okay. And so, like, I was praised for my body and I was unhealthy, like, unhealthy, eating disorder, doing things that I should never have been doing with my body that were
Mhm.
harmful. So that's why I no longer subscribe to praising weight loss. I even
Yeah.
have clients that are on the journey of healing their relationships with food and addressing trauma and support and new coping tools. And if their body releases weight, well, then we recognize that. But it's not about you're now better because you're in a smaller body. To me, to answer the question, if a person is saying, is this for my health or is this for my appearance? Ultimately, I always say, and I've had to do a lot of this work with myself because my health is still very important to me. We have to ask ourselves, what's the motive? Why am I doing what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Because the motive will tell us a lot. Am I doing this from a place of fear or am I doing this from a place of love towards myself? The other thing, Rosie, I think it's important for me to say, because this is new for us, is that we have been taught that health equals a smaller body.
Yeah.
And we don't know what somebody's health is just by looking at the size of their body. And we also can take care of our bodies and not make it about shrinking them and intentional weight loss. So, really, to answer your question, it comes back to what is my motive, and allowing yourself, and I'll speak to this later on, I'm sure, is to get curious, like not from a judgmental place, but this is about getting curious with yourself,
Yeah.
especially if you have years and years of dieting and food challenges and body image challenges. Like, why am I doing this? Because it's just, we lose ourselves too much of that chasing of that certain size, of that certain number on the scale. And quite frankly, we don't heal our relationships with our body by changing them. That work comes from the inside.
It's so true. Do you know, I've used that analogy before actually with clients, the one that you're saying about what's your motive.
Hmm.
Because if you come at it, and that's I do use that kind of weight loss, or not necessarily weight loss, but the exercise thing. If you're coming at it from a space of, I hate what I see in the mirror, and I'm going to punish my body, and I'm going to starve it of everything, and I'm going to exercise beyond until I can fit in that dress, or I see that number on the weight loss dial, there's a whole different approach than coming at it from, I love and respect myself and my body, and I want to feel good and strong within it. And
Yeah.
like I said, those approaches are like completely, they have a completely different feel behind them. And I
Mm.
think it allows you to be more consistent. And I use it in the same way in terms of working on self-worth and confidence. If you're like trying all these affirmations and trying to do all these things because, you know, you hate yourself, or you don't think you're good enough, and you're trying to browbeat yourself into doing it, rather than, I know that I deserve to feel and live differently than I am right now. And so I want to invest that time and effort into myself. Then again, you're going to have a different outcome. And I guess it's like a similar thing here, isn't it?
I would say so. Like, to me, it's about becoming friends with yourself again. We have battled ourselves and judged ourselves our whole lives. And what our bodies need is a friend.
Mm,
Our bodies need us to walk alongside them.
mm,
And that's important. Yeah.
yeah, lovely. I'm just going to take a pause there, Kim, to turn my camera on and off because I can see that it's buffering,
Yeah.
but I'll just get them to cut that bit out.
Yeah. I didn't see it on my end, just so you know.
Oh, okay, maybe it's just for me then. So this actually leads on really well to the next question that I had, which was about what you think people often misunderstand about
Mm.
body positivity and body acceptance. It's a similar subject here. What do you think people misunderstand about that? And what might they not realize or not know?
Again, I think I said it already in a way. We've been taught that body image will come through changing of the body. So if I lose the weight, if I tone up, right, I will love my body. And
Mhm.
first of all, that's just not going to happen. I want to compare our relationship with our body with any relationship we have in life. We don't always like our spouse. Sometimes we have little tiffs with a friend, or something that doesn't feel good. Like, that stuff happens. So to have a acceptance with your body, or a love towards your body, this means that I'm going to know that some days maybe I'm going to have a hard day with my body. And we walk alongside that, right?
Yeah.
It's not saying, oh, I've done this wrong. I think it's important for us to recognize that to be human means that I'm going to have some hard days. And a lot of the time, for those of us that have had experiences and passed with body image challenges, we often can be going through something and we don't even know what it is, because
Mhm.
we don't have that level of understanding yet with ourselves and our emotions. And
Yeah.
we put it onto the body. We make our body be the problem. So to me, acceptance means that I'm going to walk alongside my body, and I'm going to still take care of it because it deserves that, even if I'm
Mm.
having a hard day in it. They don't have to go hand in hand.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's more about learning to love how you look. It's actually having that compassion, like you say, working with your body,
Yeah.
treating it like as that partner, rather than just, I'm going to change myself or change my perspective or change my idea. It's about more than that, isn't it?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
100%. It is really about the destination with our bodies. One of my favorite expressions is, our body is the longest relationship we will ever be in.
Yeah, yeah,
And wherever I go, there is my body. And so it means that I'm going to support it. I'm going to get to know it a little bit more. I'm going to practice kindness towards it, even on the days that feel hard. It's
yeah.
not this linear journey, right?
Okay,
Mhm.
so Getting now into the nitty gritty, the tools, the frameworks, the mindset shifts, what's your approach to helping people to reconnect with their bodies, especially if they've spent years at war with them? How do you approach that? What do you do?
Well, I think this place of war means that many of us have disconnected.
Mm,
Many of us have pulled away because if I can't be in my body, I'm going to just numb it, get myself away from it, distract myself from it. So to me, it is the reconnecting of our body and the fact that we realize we are a physical being. And that could look a bit like different for so many people. If you are somebody who has not given needs to the body, ignored its hunger, ignored its cues, that could be that learning how to listen to its needs and honoring the needs. The body needs trust. That's another element of body acceptance. If you think about body image healing, there's a spectrum, and body trust is one of those things. Your body needs to know that you're no longer going to ignore it, you're
mm,
going to be there for it. So, listening to those signs and those desires that the body has. And ultimately, when we talk about food, so we're talking about honoring its needs and trying to work on our restriction, or also learning to be like, wow, like my body is really full. My body's
mhm.
really full. And I'm going to listen to its needs there too. But then also from an emotional standpoint, like, what do I need? We as women, gosh, I'm sure you can relate to this too. We have given so much to everybody else
Yeah.
and we haven't taken care of our own needs. And so that also means I'm going to learn how to rest my body because rest is an activity and it's the hardest one we'll ever often do is slowing down because we've developed so much of our worth around the doing
Yeah.
through the productivity.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
we all can relate to this, right? We're so the same. So really that's it. And ultimately, when we talk about the healing of the body and beginning to work on that relationship, I know for me, I'm going to speak from my story. I'm in a significantly different body than I was when I began my healing journey back in
Mhm.
2016. I looked in the mirror from a place of what needs to be changed. There was always criticism towards myself in the mirror. And I learned to look at myself from a different lens. It didn't mean like I wasn't, as my body started to change, instead of honing in on these things that I believed needed to be fixed or what was wrong with me, I started to see myself as this whole person rather than these parts that I have to fix and critique.
Mhm.
I also started to see the things that I had always been told about myself, my smile, the sparkle in my eyes, like all of those things that make me that are not attached to size.
Yeah.
So we have to learn. One of the things I do with my clients is work around body image healing in the mirror. And not everybody's ready for that right away, depending on that level of relationship. But it could be even, I remember holding a hand mirror up to my face and just looking at myself in a hand mirror and not turning away and looking into my eyes. And it was emotional for me.
Mm.
But that's the connection back. Yeah.
I'm just going to say I've heard of a similar
Mhm.
experiences of people saying just go and, like I say, just look in the mirror, look at yourself, make eye contact, because often we're avoiding it because looking in the mirror is a place that a lot of us feel uncomfortable doing. Or even if we do, say we might be looking at how a certain outfit looks or how something hangs. We're not looking at ourselves. We're not having that kind of interaction with ourselves. And yeah, it can be really powerful. And I've heard of people doing that as well, like sitting like naked and just forcing yourself to look, but just allowing to give yourself that time to just, again, where you might normally avoid it, start looking on it with those kind of more kinder, more compassionate eyes, realizing what this body has done for you. And I think, like you've said, it's not necessarily about controlling it or silencing it. It's having that compassion towards it, showing that this is the thing that gets you through day to day. This is the thing that carries you around, that allows you to live. And the more you can see it as like this amazing functioning thing that is allowing you to do it and show it that kind of respect and understanding and love, ultimately, again, that
Beautiful.
yeah,
Yeah.
changes the perspective of how you're treating it and that relationship that you have with it.
Yeah, 100%. That's really, if you could sit in front of a mirror naked, great. I can tell you that is not the case for most people.
No.
And especially if there has been a lot of body image stories come from trauma too. So we have to, like, I want to speak to that just, or at least acknowledge that as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you have to meet yourself where you are and get support if that's what you need, right? The other thing I want to talk about briefly too is just the acknowledgement of the belief systems, right? Like if in case people don't understand this, everything comes from a thought, and our thoughts lead to emotions. So we feel those emotions in our body, and they lead us towards some type of behavior that we repeat on a regular basis, which could be criticism in the mirror. So we have to pay attention to those thoughts that feed those belief systems and really take a look at those belief systems that you have. And as I said earlier, do you still subscribe to them? Because these are old belief systems that the world will continue, many will continue to adopt and live alongside them. But you don't have to. You don't have to. Like I unsubscribed because I chose me over a set of beliefs and this narrative that keeps pushing through us in society. So that's the subconscious work that's been very powerful for me. And then even like with a lot of my clients, which is actually going to be my gift for your listeners, is doing nervous system work, like emotional freedom techniques, tapping, all of these things that help to move these blocked emotions that are in our bodies that often cause us to body check, which is when you're analyzing your body or questioning. Like I did a lot of that. And body image healing is not going to happen quickly. I think it's important for me to say that. It is a day by day journey that you walk alongside yourself. And that's why our environments and what we choose to continue to consume, not food, I'm talking about the narrative, that's either going to help you along or it can keep you held back.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is where, this idea of the narrative and the subconscious, I think this is where it ties back to that idea around self-worth, because ultimately our body image, how we feel about our body image, how we're confident is attached to our sense of self-worth. Because if we know that what we bring to the table is not determined by what we have to offer in terms of our bodies, that we are beautiful, that we are healthy, that we are worthy, that we are capable, that we're strong, that we're attractive, whatever it is that we want to feel. If we know that we are valuable as we are, we have that grounded sense of self-worth. I guess it can come from two angles. If you know that, then you can more happily embrace yourself without feeling like you need to hit certain, like you say, beauty standards, beauty metrics in order to be worthy of admiration, love, sexual attraction, whatever. But also, if you do have a good sense of self-worth, then you'll perhaps have a more like a healthy relationship with your body, and therefore with kind of food or exercise or in whatever way that means to you. So it doesn't necessarily mean small and not having it, but I think that's where the link with kind of confidence and self-worth would come in. Would you agree?
Yeah, 100%. And ultimately, if I get to choose what I'm going to measure my self-worth with, and to measure your self-worth with something that is going to change, which is your body, where our bodies will change, society's messaging will change,
Yeah.
because we see this all the time. What is a beautiful body? It's always changing, and there's a reason for that. So we get to make that criteria different, and that changes how you feel about yourself.
Yeah.
And when you feel differently about yourself, you act differently and you invite in more joy and peace and laughter and play and all of those things. Somebody who doesn't feel they're worthy because of their body will not allow themselves to, like I'm in an adult pop singing and dance group that I joined a couple years ago. I would never have done that before. And now I know that I can.
Yeah.
And that's opening up my life in so many ways. So it's important. It goes far. Even everything from confidence to ask for a raise or confidence to ask somebody out on a date. Like we have to do that work internally, because otherwise we're going to continue to tell ourselves a story of why we can't do the thing that we want to do.
Yeah.
Like we need to live for today, truly.
We really do. And like you say, it really is so far reaching, because if you have that fear around like your body, your body positivity, like you said about asking people out on a date, asking for a raise, like we feel so judged by how we're seen by others. And I was thinking, and these are conversations I've had with clients as well, struggling to get visible, to be happy to show up, whether that's speaking on stage, on social media, or putting themselves forward in any way to be visible because they don't feel happy being seen, or even in terms of like choices of what you might wear. Like you might want to do those things, and like you now getting up on stage and being part of that performing thing, there are so many ways that it can hold us back from, like you say, that joy, that peace, purpose, happiness, love. But the more that we're able to come at it from that grounded sense of self-worth, like you say, change the way in which we measure how we love and see our body.
Yeah. Can I also add too, this is the willingness of taking up space, which we
Yeah.
hear this term a lot in body image
Yeah.
healing, but it also could be like, I deserve to ask for what I need. I can raise my hand and share my opinion in a meeting. I can ask for help and not feel like I can't because of what I look like and what people might think of me. Taking up space looks like so many things too,
Yeah.
but we deserve this, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, we do. Okay, so coming now to the takeaway and homework
Mm.
part of the session. So I ask all our guest teachers if there's one lesson or mindset shift, one sentence that you want our listeners or our students to walk away with today, what would you love them to have in mind or to remember from this lesson?
I would say that no matter what has happened to you, no matter what your story is, no matter what people have told you about your body and who you are worthy today, we hear this all the time, but we need to keep hearing it again. We are worthy today. We don't have to change ourselves.
Mhm.
And that worth needs to be said out loud, said into mirrors. I'm learning to believe I'm worthy.
Love
I'm
it.
open to feeling that. Yep. That's what
Love
I would
it.
say. Because it changes everything right from there.
It does. And like I say, it has to start within, because if it's always predicated by making those external changes, then like you say, when those things shift and happen outside of our control, we're right at the mercy of that again. So you're right. It has to start with I'm worthy of being healthy, happy, loved as I am, and then
Mhm.
making your decisions about what you'd like to do from there.
Totally. 100%.
Okay, great. And what's a simple but practical action or reflection or a small habit that they can try this week to start feeling more at home in their bodies?
I would say practicing kindness towards the body. We have to reconnect to the body. So that might mean you could choose to say at the end of every day, what is one way I was kinder to my body? But maybe you need to start one step before that and make a list, 5 or 10 things that I can do to practice kindness towards my body. So you have something to pull from, and then you work on doing one thing every day. That could be taking the time to put some lotion on your body. That could be taking the time to sit down and have a meal, right? That could be choosing to wear something that feels good on your body versus feeling like you need to cover it in big, baggy clothing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
Excellent. That's it, Kim. Thank you so much for this conversation. Honestly, it's so important. I know it affects so many women. I think you mentioned earlier that you've got a little gift around the emotional freedom technique, did you say? Or
Yeah,
something that you wanted to share. Do you want
yeah,
to tell us a little bit about that? And then we'll share the link in the show notes, but just so people know.
sure. I'm going to create a little intro video with it as well because I know we
Okay,
are
great.
subject to time. But emotional freedom techniques is essentially self-administered acupuncture. It's tapping on meridian points in your body to help stuck emotions move through. Body image experiences can cause us to feel very disconnected, very anxious. And so this helps to empower us. And you'll have a video that you can follow along with me with some beautiful statements and empowering statements that support that journey of body image healing. And as well, I'm going to add in some really powerful journaling tools and tips and prompts. So they will be coming along as well.
Amazing. That's so generous of you. Thank you, Kim. But yeah, just thank you so much for being our guest teacher today. I've really enjoyed our lesson. I'm sure a lot of people will find it helpful as well. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks, Rosie.
So I absolutely loved that episode. I hope that you did too. And what I really love about Kim's message is how human it is, realizing that your body has never been the enemy. It's simply that we've been taught to see it through a lens that was never ours to begin with. And rebuilding trust and love in your body, it's not a quick fix, it is a practice, but it's about daily leaning into that kindness instead of criticism. And if this has resonated with you, if this has touched a nerve and you want to go deeper, Kim has gifted a free emotional freedom technique tapping session for body appreciation. It's EFT for short. You'll learn more about it in the video. She's linked it in the show notes. And it's a beautiful, just simple way to begin shifting your nervous system out of self-judgment and into self-connection. So if this conversation has resonated with you, maybe you feel like you've got a friend, sister, mom, aunt that would benefit from it, please do share with anybody that you think might be fighting or struggling with their body and looking to reconnect with their confidence and happiness with it. But until next time, remember, you deserve a life as awesome as you are, and you deserve to live at home in the body that you're in.